Can you tell me about the work that you do?
I am the director of the Femmes Francophones, so what I do a bit of everything. The mission of the Femmes Francophones is to answer to meet the needs of the women. If they want something, it is our responsibility.
How did you come to be in this position? What sorts of things influenced your decision to take on this work?
It's such a long story. That started 20 years ago.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, and we had a lady in town, and her husband was the vice president of IUC, Huguette Gagnon. And Huguette moved to Labrador, and if she found that women needed something for women, so she got together with few people. She did a survey, what the women needed, what they wanted, and that's how it started. So it started with a small group, and the group has grown up, and we have joined like l'Alliance des Femmes de la Francophonie Canadienne, which is a national organization. And up to a few years ago, we were a member of the Atlantic organization that does not exist anymore because of fundings. And that's how it started. It started to answer the needs of women, and it's still the goal today.
And were you involved from the very beginning?
I was involved from the very beginning. Yes, we started like I will say not maybe the first or second meeting I missed them, but she came to see me at work one day and she said just to make that survey. That's how I started. But she has all the work done. She was an amazing woman. Then she get more people involved, and we started by getting a little bit of funding from Status of Women.
Right.
At the time they were giving a bit of money, so we had a little bit of money, and the group is getting bigger. We have had some meeting where there's 2 or 3, but I counted up with the kids, so the kids are World Cup, 16, 18 people there.
Wow.
Every Wednesday morning, Just the time to clean up after and pick up everything, and it's time, but it's done on volunteer basis.
Done on volunteer.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the nice project we did one time with Status of Women is about a booklet on violence.
Yes.
And last few months ago, this was because we are a member of the national organization, so we sent them a copy of what we do.
Right.
And of course, we had a lady from Nova Scotia ask us if they can use our booklet and change the page of the resource. And like it's still our booklet and our everything what we did inside. The only page that they have changed, and this has been distributed in 3,000 copies in Nova Scotia.
Wow.
So it's amazing. We have done a few projects on violence. We did a booklet. We did this little booklet on violence. The name of this one is Violence, What Are You Talking About?
Ah.
So they describe different type of violence.
Nice.
Inside. And we had done one many years before that with Justice Canada that was done with the kids in the school about bullying. So that was nice for them, And
yes.
But that many years ago, so they were small. Now they are grown-up kids, but it's still nice. And after the booklet was done, there's a few meetings with the kids, to see how it has affected them, what it has improved.
Have you revisited since they've grown up?
Oh yes, we're still distributing that book anyway.
Excellent.
So we have a few copies.
So it was that good? You've produced that good of stuff?
We found it very, very good. But the last one we did a few years ago is like somebody asking to reuse it. They said there's no need for us to do the same thing, you have done it. We did all the work, so on this we could hire an employee. So she did the research. Then after we did prepare the book, it was ready to be printed. We just presented a variety show last weekend at the French school involved, and that year the play was giving us the story of woman in Labrador.
Okay.
So it was very interesting, so it's part of the work. We wrote the play, it was read a few times at coffee time, and we're reading, laughing, and everybody put something into that. We had practice. Dinner time, after school, and every night. We got ready. It was on last weekend. What a show we had.
Oh, how fantastic.
It was absolutely amazing. I just cannot say. Everything went so well. Everything went so well, and we had quite a few. And I think that, that's one of the woman. For the woman it was in 3 acts. The first one was the one the girl goes and tell her mom, we're planning to move to Labrador City. The surprise and all those comments, and and the second act, the girl went to Labrador City. She came back home. She's telling her mom, we are moving, but don't worry, it's only for a few years, like everybody does.
Right.
And after the third act we're going back 5 years after, saying that the girl that was there for 2 is actually still there 5 years. We are moving to Labrador. We all go through the same thing. And I just like to give the woman the chance to say it and to see that we all been through that.
Right.
Somebody said at the meeting yesterday that most of us came here. One of the reasons was because there was money.
Of course.
There is money. That was the money cost. And one lady said, before I came here, we were, I don't know how to say that in English, really close to the poverty line.
Yeah.
And now they are doing very good.
Right.
That is something too, and I could see that yesterday we have 5, 6 women trying to go around the table, and they all agree. They came here for the reason was to assure yourself money, safety, and after that, you can manage. There is a French school, so the kid can go to France, and one of the big factors is the kids will be vulnerable. You're leaving your job, you're leaving your friends, when you come here.
You're living in a mining community.
And nobody speaks the language.
And nobody speaks the language.
That's a big issue. Like a Francophone woman, when they come here, where do you go? Okay, we're lucky we can go in Fremont for doctor.
Right.
But the rest of the things, you have to.
So you didn't speak English when you moved here?
No.
Wow.
And I find this, when they asked me the first time if I was pregnant, I didn't know what this would eat, Didn't have a clue what the word meant. It's amazing, it's all those things, but that's how you learn.
And you've been here for 40 years?
Yes.
And women who come from away who are Francophones still come and experience the same thing that you experienced 40 years ago?
Exactly. When we start our little monthly, our newsletter, it's called Entre Amis, Between Friends. Okay, and one of the girls that was new in town, she said, I like to see in that something that, did you know that? Like, did you know there's a kennel that you can bring your dog when you're going on vacation? Did you know that there's no dry cleaners? Did you know that, where do I go for my insurance?
Right.
When we are here for a long time, we don't ask those questions, but newcomers, they don't know. Where do I go to get this?
Of course. But if you don't speak the language,
The
what do you
language
do?
is a big barrier. That's the language. They will call somebody else.
Right.
If you're sick, you want to go to the hospital, there's nothing in French. So I go in Fremont.
Oh.
That's something I refuse to be sick in English because I am not. No, I refuse. I
You deserve better.
I want to be sick in French.
Of course.
So I go to Fremont and I fight for anything. I go there, but I have no problem. The service is excellent. I know I'm a leader in my way. When I say I can do something, I do it, and we do it too. We realize so many things, but I'm a leader, but I also report to a board of directors.
Right.
So if they tell me no, I will do no, but usually my board of directors let me do, a few things, but I will just, it's my job and to let them know what I'm planning to do.
Right.
And they say, go ahead.
So your leadership at your work, but I mean, I guess just reflecting on the things you just said, talking about when you started the Francophone, I guess the one thing that stood out to me was I'm not being sick in English.
Definitely not.
Right? That's a huge leadership.
Yeah.
Right? So knowing your rights, I guess, is a huge piece of your style.
Yeah. The feeling that you had when you are told something, you are not sure. And when you are told something, you know exactly. And they can use word that long that they will shorten for me because I don't know. I'm not in that field. I never work in that field. So, you know, they have to explain to me. And, you know, so many times you hear people, I had a mini stroke. Okay, that's what I was saying. And I said that in Seven Island when they sent me for test. The doctor said, there's no such a thing as mini stroke. You had a stroke, yeah. Oh, okay, so you know, they just make you realize that,
Right.
you know, I was giving the wrong message to people. But they say, give them the right thing, and you know, that's how it goes.
So language is really, really, really important.
Yeah, for
anyone.
For anyone, yes.